Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's Rocco's Block Connection. We're a day late with the weekly comic roundup, but still, better late than never, right? All right, so we got a decent number of books. Let's try to get through them as quickly as possible, huh? All right, start off with Uncanny X-Men number 5, which is, of course, part 5 of X-Men Disassembled. Where we skip, yeah. The issue kicks off in Chernaya, where we left off with Storm's squad of X-Men and two factions of Chernayans, revolutionaries, and the government soldiers are about to kill each other. And now the X-Men have showed up, and well, now they kind of both want to kill the X-Men. Kind of because of the actions of Magneto and Angel. Namely, the fact that Magneto took all the soldiers' guns and turned them into a giant statue of Nate Gray. So, of course, all-out chaos ensues. And then back at X-Man's hideout, he takes counsel from his prisoners. And so he takes Apocalypse's advice and destroys the Vatican City, Mecca. Oh my god, I am going down to butcher this. The Ruvenaparam and various others. Since Kitty didn't protest, Nate figured, well, she had no problem with this. She argued a bit, and then he shuts her mouth with an energy binding. Off the Gulf Coast, Jean's team of X-Men are saving the last of the rig workers, and now the rig is covered in plant life. So Jean, X-23, Iceman, and Northstar go to check it out. And they're kind of weirded out by everything. Back in Beast's lab, Beast is trying to figure out where his missing sample went. And he checks the cameras, and so he, of course, looks for, tries to figure, okay, who it could be. My guess is Dark Beast. Anyway, outside, Glob Herman's bringing Jamie back to what's left of the mansion. Legion is overjoyed that Jamie's returned. Though Jamie Purchase says, that Legion never doesn't get to touch him. So, what they're doing, however, is clearing out Cerebro so that Legion can use it. And after a little bit, he manages to find where Nate Gray's hiding, and asks if the X-Kids are ready to save the world, which John replies, hell yes they are. But he's back to Chernaya. While the X-Men fight the Chernayans, or while the rest of the X-Men, I should say, fight the Chernayans, Polaris goes to talk to her father and sees what the hell he's doing, and she destroys the statue he made. Then Cannonball flies Angel up into space and then back down to Earth, where where Psylocke and him have a chat, and then Betsy slices the crap out of him with her psionic sword, causing him to go from Angel to Archangel, and that is where the issue ends. Alright. Hopefully we can make the rest of these just as quickly. Anyways, moving on to X-Men Red number 11. Where we left off in X-Men Red, Jean Grey's team of X-Men had teamed up with the Avengers and as well as the armies of Atlantis to stop Cassandra Nova, and they're all wearing Magneto helmets to keep Cassandra Nova out of their heads. Cassandra starts a breach in one of the nuclear cores of the helicarrier she has. Nejno is teleported up there and tries to, basically tries to contain the breach. Anyway, so the people that Cassandra Nova is taking control of are, of course, attacking all the heroes. But Jean and Cassandra Nova go head to head, hand to hand, mind to mind. And the Avengers and the X-Men try to figure out how to, fix the problem with the helicarrier. Admittedly, Iron Man, while flying, yeah, sorry about that. While flying next to Namor, kind of suggests just letting the nuclear explosion go off in the sea, because he's Iron Man and he's, well, a jerk. Gambit presumes that he can charge up the helicarrier, and both X-23 and Honey Badger takes stabs of sorts at Cassandra Nova. The Honey Badger is a bit different and involves teleportation and teleporting her fist into Cassandra Nova's head. So anyways, they get everyone back on the helicarrier. Everyone's been gotten onto the deck. And Gambit is working on charging them up. Thor is still there, and Gambit tells him to go grab Nejno, and then come back for him, because that part's important. However, it turns out that Honey Badger didn't just put her fist into the back of Cassandra Nova's head, but rather a reprogrammed nanosentinel, which will cause Cassandra Nova to feel empathy anytime she sees a mutant. Anyway, Thor manages to save both Nejno and Gambit as the helicarrier explodes. And Jean Grey and Cassandra Nova go from having a knockdown, drag out, hand-to-hand, mind-to-mind fight to having a heart-to-heart. Anyway, we pick up with the United Nations, and Jean gives a speech with the Avengers at her side, as well as the rest of the X-Men. And her vision being a world without divisions. No us and them, just us. And so that is the final issue of X-Men Red. To be perfectly honest, Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the storyline for the most part, but the story for the most part, but that's the kind of thing that they could have just held off on and done in an issue done as an arc in the new Uncanny X-Men series after getting everything put back together. Anyway, moving on to Weapon X number 27. The team, where we left off, the team was in hell, and they had discovered that William Stryker was using his cultists to they would sacrifice themselves, all in order to allow for him to return to Earth. And said cultists are working on that. Meanwhile, Sabretooth has decided he's going to save the human son of him and Mystique, Graydon Creed, former leader of the Friends of Humanity. A human superior, anti-mutant human supremacist group. Because that's what, that's exactly what you should do, Vic. Save your racist son, but whatever. Anyways, so the first thing that happened while they're going through, they planned it all out, and they noticed that things are beginning with Stryker, with return of Stryker to Earth. So Sabretooth has the rest of Weapon X have their little goat return to Earth. Meanwhile, he's gonna try and kill him. He's gonna try and make sure that Stryker is kept in hell. Also, the rest of the team is teleported by Azazel back to the Aspen compound. And while Sabretooth and Demon Stryker fight it out in hell, Weapon X and demonically empowered Metallo duke it out. And, well, when you got friends in low places, especially those kind of low places, your superpowers can get a little bit of a boost. And so it's decided that the sacrifice will now be to bring back Stryker will be the Weapon X team. Well, this means that Saber has to give up his assault on Stryker, leave it undone, no less, and go back to Earth. And while duking it out with Metallo, it seemingly strips away, or rather, Sabretooth lets all the humanity of a slip away. He's now just the animal. And he ends up in hell. On his way through, he kills the spirit of Stryker. Also, shortly after he ends up being turned into ground, basically ground Sabretooth. Sabretooth turned into ground Sabretooth, I should say. Lady Deathstrike seemingly kills Metallo. Which kind of sucks because he can be a fun villain. However, Graydon manages to be sent back to the land of the living. And they realize that Sabretooth is dead. And the demon they were dealing with kind of realizes what's going on and sends Sabretooth back to Earth without basically seemingly just as an animal in a man's body, but it could also just be saying, yeah, he's gonna be back to being a villain, but he's also the team believes him to be dead, and that is actually the final issue of this incarnation of Weapon X. There will actually be as this was kind of the Black Ops X-Men book, and was a placeholder for X-Force. And there's a new X-Force book starting next month. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to X-23, number 7. God damn it, I really need to actually... Anyway, so... we open up with Honey Badger getting herself some ice cream. Then we find out that there have been 3 scientists killed. One was a specialist in human genetics, one in genome engineering, and one an immunologist. And apparently, Kitty Pryde has kind of pushed the idea of the X-Men helping the NYPD when possible. So, X-23 and Honey Badger are helping in this case. Anyways, the two of them wait and watch. They got a pretty good idea who the next victim's going to be, so they're watching his apartment. And something shows up. Only the scientist isn't there, but rather X-23. So this seemingly robot fights X-23. X-23 kicks the shit out of her. And then to the point where she escapes through the whatever it is, goes out through the window, and Honey Badger then jumps on it, landing on its head, knocking it out. And so they pull off what turns out to be a helmet, only to find that it's somewhat humanoid looking, and Honey Badger kind of says she's the new us. Anyways, so they fast forward to the tank, which is, according to the Beast, jail for the unclassified. Anyways, at the moment they're going to hold her, and Beast admits to Honey Badger when asked if they'll keep her, there's been a bit of a governmental gray area. The crack in the system that their work tends to fall through. However, Beast is trying to get her transferred to the mansion so he can study her. She looks, honestly, she does kind of look more cyborg than mutant. But while Honey Badger and X-23 argue over whether or not she should be, saved or not, armored soldiers attack. Honey Badger insists that they have to save their former recent assailants. And that's where the issue ends. And it looks like, from the cover of the next issue, we'll probably be getting a fight with someone similar. Either the assailant or someone similar. Alright, next up we got Ghost Warps, or Infinity Warps, Ghost Panther, Bah. I'll get it together. Alright, so, last issue, Eric Killraven killed the Ghost Panther. So we started off getting Killraven's origin. Which also includes the origin, some backstory on Wakanda, which is the normal backstory. But anyways, Killraven's mother was in the future. Killraven's mother was exiled. They were captured by the Martians. And went through arena training. And eventually, with him and the one that's half based off of Man-Ape, escaped. And they managed to travel back to the past. Whoa, excuse me. With the use of the time diamonds. Anyway, Zarathos is showing all of this to T'Challa. And explaining also that since Killmonger still lives, he's probably going to try and go after the surviving heir to the throne. T'Challa's sister, Shiriri. And so he's just like, yeah, okay, fine. I'll bring me back from the dead. We'll take care of this shit. They're trying to... Anyway, so Shiriri's got everyone together trying to figure out what to do because the heart-shaped herb's gone. And, Wakanda's always been ruled by a king or queen, and that king or queen's always been the Black Panther, but no more. And she's about to be Wakanda forever, but she's told to hold because Killraven's there. And he's ready to kill the princess of Wakanda, the princess or queen of Wakanda. But Ghost Panther shows up. They duke it out. However, Killraven's abilities, he is... You can figure out what it is he's going to kill. T'Challa's going to do before he does it. Back with Zarathos, there's another figure volunteering to be possessed and to help T'Challa. And so she agrees, and T'Chaka becomes the Panther, which Ghost Panther rides upon. Meanwhile, turns out that Killer set a bunch of bombs around to if one is disarmed, they all detonate, or the rest detonate. So the trick is to disarm all of them at once. So Shuri's got a plan. And Ghost Panther and Killer continue to duke it out. Then, of course, the Panther arrives. And Killraven can't see what's going to happen. And so they take the soul. The soul is taken to be given to Zarathos, and now Wakanda is now ruled by T'Challa, the Damned King, also known as Johnny Blaze, Ghost Panther. He's attended by the Revenant T'Chaka and Princess Shiriri, the Panther Heart. I gotta say, there's a lot of these Infinity Wars which are actually really interesting and books that I would not mind continuing to read. But, of course, Infinity Wars and its Infinity Warps is soon to be over with. Next up, we've got Sleepwalker number 4. So, Sleepwalker had entered the soul world through Man Thing Thang Thun. But Man Thing Thang Thun was stopped by the Agents of Sleep. And we finally find out what SLEEP stands for. Security Level Extreme Elimination Protocol. And this is when Sleepwalker discovers that Rick Sheridan has been bonded with Nick Fury. So he ended up dragging him into the dream world, where all the other sleepwalkers are apparently on the run from nightmares. And so, big ass battle against the nightmares. Rick Fury is involved. Sleepwalker manages to, rally everyone together, not to mention utilize things from the other gem worlds. And he zaps Rick Fury with his warp gaze, which unwarps the two of them. And when all's said and done, everything, they go back to the everything ends when everything seems to have been cut off at the source. The Infinity Stones, because apparently the Infinity Stones have shifted once again, and Earth has been returned to its proper place within the cosmos. So, anyways, he gives another rallying speech. Of course, he got some detractors, but one of the others actually initially, was like, no, we'll toss you into the nightmares if you do this. The person's like, you know what? No, you're right. And so they all stand together. And from the sounds of it, other sleepwalkers are going to start bonding with other humans. I would not be surprised if we eventually get a book called Sleepwalkers. Anyways, postscript to Infinity Wars. Sleepwalker and Rick have a chat. And seems like he's going to send some heroes to do some good. Anyways, another location. Nick Fury Jr. wakes up, makes some calls, and he's got some questions. He wants to know about some people or some things. Well, first, Sleepwalker. Next, the Secret Defenders. Is that what is Sleepwalker organizing a team of Secret Defenders? Maybe. Also going to go ahead and call it now. Drax is one of the Guardians is going to die, and it's going to be Drax. Next up, we've got Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider, number 3. Where we left off, Mary Jane Watson had agreed to help Gwen find Gwen. So they go to the two reporters who've been also trying to find Gwen Stacy. Betty Brant and Glory Grant, who on Spider-Gwen's Earth are her bandmates, as opposed to investigative reporters. There's a bit of arguing, and they try and convince the two of them that, hey, no, that's Gwen. That's the Gwen that's been missing for last few years. Anyway, looking through some of the pictures they've got, Gwen has an idea. As turns out that they've got a picture of what is on her Earth, their band space. She explains to MJ that in the multiverse, things tend to have. If there's one thing on one Earth that's important to that Earth's version of a character, then on another Earth, it'll also have an importance, though it'll probably be a different importance. It'll be something different, but still be important. So, MJ and Spider-Gwen web swing out there. Glory and Betty see them and they decide, yeah, they're following. So, they all show up at the same place, break on in, and turns out, yeah, that's Green Goblin Gwen's hideout. Anyway, so Spider-Gwen dukes it out with the Gwen Goblin. During the course of everything, Betty and Glory just learn that, oh, Harry Osborn was Spider-Man? MJ manages to calm down the Gwen Goblin. And it's just, the reporter, Betty and Glory are kind of just have the story's closed. There's no story to report. Some things are more important than a story, after all. So anyway, after a while, Gwen formerly was the Goblin, makes an amulet which will hopefully allow Spider-Gwen to traverse realities. And Gwen does so in the hopes that she'll be able to get back to the fight that she left in the first place. Not following Spider-Geddon, so yeah. All I know is what I've picked up from these. Namely the fact that Spider-Man Noir has been killed by the Inheritors. Which kind of sucks. But I guess there are worse things could happen. Anyways, moving on to Miles Morales, Spider-Man #1. So, the issue is narrated in such a manner as a journal entry. As turns out that at the school he's at, Miles is taking creative writing along with his buddy Judge, and one of the first assignments that they're given is keep a journal. Journal is secret and sacred. Any student in the class who reads another student's journal immediately fails. That's how big a deal it is. So we also get a rundown of of Miles's origin as well as his powers. Bitten by a genetically altered spider. Stick to walls, pick up cars, swing across the city on a thread because he's Spider-Man. Also has he's also endorsed by the original Spider-Man. He can also blend into his surroundings and has a kind of venom stun blast thing. His father's a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. His uncle is a costume criminal known as the Iron Spider. His mother's chief nurse at Brooklyn University Hospital. And also, they all know that he's Spider-Man. So, he shows up kind of banged up, explains that, basically because of the events of Spider-Geddon. While his buddy Judge doesn't seem to know that he's Spider-Man, his other roommate, Gank, does. And sends him to go save the day. Which he does. However, the problem he does admit is that sometimes when he goes to bed, he's exhausted. Sometimes he goes to bed exhausted. Sometimes, though, after a fight or a rescue, the adrenaline's pumping so hard that he can't sleep. When he finally does, it's time to wake up. And there's his girlfriend, Barbara. And him and Barbara arranged to hang out together the following weekend. And then that Saturday morning, turns out his mom has finally discovered about, has learned, oh, hey, you saved some people this week. Great. So anyways, after hanging out with Barbara and her cousin, he goes on his little, on his patrol, and, we get some rather small thieves who kind of quiet, don't say, not manages to knock one of them out, but then the Rhino shows up. And so Miles and the Rhino tussle a bit. Of course, they make with the banter. Turns out that the robbery in question isn't masterminded by Rhino. No, his niece. He's looking for his niece, and somebody snatched her. And it turns out the other small thieves were going to lead him to her. So they stop their vehicle and take the masks off, start taking the masks off, and oh no, Barbara's cousin is one of them. Anyways, so they both get the shit shocked out of them, and that's where the issue ends. I actually really enjoyed the Rhino fight in this. It was it's hard to explain because we're not talking about a character who's dead. We're talking about a legacy character whose original version isn't dead, and in fact will often hang out with him. But yeah, this Miles is a excellent sidekick. I don't know, other version of Spider-Man, but yeah. Anyways, moving on to Avengers number 11, or going by legacy numbering, 701. All right, we open up with Coulson giving this whole monologue. And he says what he's about to do. He's doing what he's about to do because of the Avengers. Back at Avengers Mountain, you've got Robbie Reyes and Captain Marvel talking while Captain Marvel checks out the Hell Charger. And Captain Marvel kind of explains, if you're going to be parking this sucker here and I'm sleeping in this thing, out in this mountain, in Avengers Mountain, I want to know, I want to make sure that, it's not going to do something bad So, anyways, turns out that Thor and Jennifer Walters are on a date in the Savage Land. Yeah, it's not exactly going that great. I mean, Thor's enjoying himself. Janet's just kind of like, meh, whatever. Anyways, in the Eden room of Avengers Mountain, It turns out that a handful of international heroes have been gathered together by Black Panther. I honestly don't know who the Chinese hero is, but we got Captain Britain. Oh God, I cannot think. Shaman from Alpha Flight, Sunfire from well, Captain Britain from Great Britain, Shaman from Canada, Sunfire from Japan, Sabra from Israel, and an Arabian Knight from the Arabic nations. Also in attendance is Ursa Major, as an invitation was sent to the Winter Guard. And it's kind of explained that after an incident in Alaska, it's very obvious that the United States is not on board with the Avengers. Ursa Major, however, also says, "Oh, now you're more than happy to, be all buddy and help everyone else out." Well, on behalf of the Winter Guard, Mother Russia, kiss my furry ass. And there's almost a fight between the two. Well, first, after some prolonged silence between Thor and Jen Walters, Jen said she's gonna go home, and we cut back to Coulson, who's still doing his monologue. Only this time, it's definite that there's someone he's talking to. And while he's giving this monologue, he actually burns one of his Captain America trading cards, and then he explains he's going to shoot the guy, whoever he's talking to, in the leg. Anyway, now we get the fight between Ursa Major and the almost fight, but Black Panther has him teleported away. Back in the Savage Land, Thor explains that no, he didn't want to have a day with the Hulk. He wanted to get to know the She in She-Hulk better. But then She-Hulk's out and they kiss, and yeah. So, anyways, Coulson continues to talk to his prisoner, but now it's just talking about who this prisoner is, and it's very vague. And then we find out that what happened in Alaska was the Squadron Supreme of America. The trial run, and they passed with flying colors, bloody colors mostly. So it looks of it, they actually killed one of Namor's Defenders of the Deep. And we find out that at the end of the issue, Coulson has killed whoever his prisoner is. And this is actually probably one of the most disappointing moments in the book, to find out that Coulson's prisoner is just no one of any importance. So the fact that Coulson rather coldly kills him, I mean, yeah, it sucks, but yeah. Still, there's also the fact that it would have had a little bit more, edge if it had a, oh no, he just killed this person. Oh my God! But no, he doesn't. He kills nobody of importance. Next up, we got Asgardians of the Galaxy, number 4. Where we left off, the Nova Corps had shown up on Chandalar, while the Asgardians and were fighting the the Naglfar Armada, or well, the Naglfar. The Nova Corps, they sent the Naglfar packing. Gladiator, Magister of the Shi'ar Imperium, is just like, yeah, we don't need Zendarian assistance. We can take care of ourselves, and but also, it's about time. It's about time that the Asgardians paid for their crime, for stuff like this. So the Asgardians get arrested. Their ship gets impounded. We got a flashback leading up to the recruitment of Thunderstrike by Angela and the Destroyer Armor. Scourge and Thunderstrike have a bit of a bonding moment. We also get a flashback with Valkyrie, who is apparently wanting to unbond herself from Annabelle. Apparently, the whole thing is that Valkyrie is Annabelle's anchor to the mortal world, to the mortal plane. Or their bond. Annabelle was going to die. The Valkyrie's like, no, hey, look, bind us. That way she won't die. Kid Loki offers to actually, split the two of them up. Meanwhile, Scott Adsit of the Nova Corps, who is becoming our new Nova Corps character, basically the one who shows up whenever they're needed. He's interrogating Angela, and he kind of makes a point about the fact that the Asgardians can't seem to just say, hey, so we've got this horn, it brings back dead gods, like all the dead gods, like if, say Ragnarok has happened 30 times, it's going to bring back 30 of the Acer. Little things. And he explains they're tracking Nebula, and it looks like, and she's heading towards the Sol System. So now that means that Angela's like, oh, okay. And so she manages to effect an escape. Throg goes back to Chandelar and gets his hammer, which Gladiator's been trying to pick up and failing to. During the fight, Kid Loki turns Valkyrie back into Annabelle. Brings forth the Destroyer Armor. Allows Annabelle to utilize a Nova helmet, and then sends himself to Earth, where it turns out Nebula's already there, and she's already taken Thor prisoner. And then she blows the horn. Next issue ought to be interesting, to say the least. Alright, and moving on to the Black Order #2. Where we last left off, the Black Order were duking it out with the Black Order on a mission for the Grandmaster. We're duking it out with Big Angry, who was under orders to kill them from the Sonoran Emperor. Well, let's just say Big Angry completely and totally failed in his job. And so they show up in the Sonoran capital city and just start wrecking house. You know, I mean, they're just kicking ass and taking names, but they still manage to get taken prisoner. Ebony Maw tries to do his thing where he, you know, talks to manipulate everything, but doesn't entirely work. Right, so they're thrown into a prison cell. Which the comrades of their cellmates promptly rescue them from. Now, it should be noted, they're, oh my god, I swear, they're cellmates and their cellmates' allies. It's like somebody threw a 90s image superhero book in the middle of this. I mean, Punch Fist, The Foot, Kranag the Peacemaker, the Silver Scythe, Witchling at Twilight. Yeah. Grim Archer. Armored Angel. Yeah, seriously. It's... I want to turn this into, you know... I want them to have their own book where it's just a bad or a tongue-in-cheek nod to image superhero books of the 90s. So they get to the Resistance's headquarters, which is in a moon. Black Dwarf is enthralled because he's never been inside a moon. So, you know, he's going, wow, so this is what the inside of a moon looks like. Turns out that the Emperor has a weapon called the Bow of Gabriel, which initially belonged to Gabriel, the Airwalker, former Herald of Galactus, which he would use to make a world ready for consumption. And so the Black Order decided they take the bow for themselves. They'd raise an army the likes of which had never been seen. And first Corvus says the Black Quadrant could live again. Though Proctor was like, Black Quadrant? How about Black Galaxy? Or even better, the Black Universe. And that's where the issue ends. Alrighty. Moving on to Star Wars Age of Republic, Darth Maul. So this takes place before the events of the Phantom Menace. Darth Maul is has disguised himself and is working with a thief in the lower levels of Coruscant. However, because of due to his exploits, Maul is fairly certain that his ally, Pero, might be Force sensitive. He's not looking to recruit him, obviously. Anyways, they duke it out with some others. Zek starts looking around, and he manages to find what it is that they were there for. Anyways, so he gets impaled on a wall with a piece of metal blade because, and in fact, he makes a really good point. The use of a lightsaber, even in the lower levels, would attract the attention of the Jedi. So, Sidious scolds him for this, because apparently he's doing this all on Maul's doing this all on his own. And so, they go to The two of them, after Sidious, congratulates Maul on his recent killing of a Padawan. Anyway, so they go to the planet Malachor because, as Sidious says, the ashes of our fallen brethren hold one more lesson. So basically, breathes in the ashes, and suddenly he's a Jedi on his home world. And he saves someone from. It's not a Rancor, but it's kind of, I don't know, a distant cousin. And he's having dinner with the family, and he kills the family. And he explains that what the Jedi are is a lie told to a desperate galaxy. He sees himself surrounded by Jedi, but then it's over and they're gone. And Sidious asks him what he's learned, and he says, "The rage fuels us, but it won't be enough to stop the Jedi alone. They have numbers on their side and the faith of the Republic." Though Sidious explains that, they have that now. In time, with careful planning, they will lose both. But yeah, it's a neat story. It kind of reminded me of the novel, the Darth Maul novel from years ago entitled Shadow Hunter, which had, the beginning mostly did, but it focused on a slicer and some other fringe types in the lower levels of Coruscant, and they're on the run from Darth Maul, who is killing everyone who has this piece of information. And it concerns Black Sun gets involved. It's a pretty cool story. It falls into the Star Wars Legends category. But anyways, now moving on to our final book of the week, Alien 3: The Unproduced Screenplay #2. The image of Bishop on the cover is just, oof. All things considered, though, yeah. So we open up on the Sulaco 6 hours ago as Captain Kurtz succumbs to the chest burster inside him that rips it out. Well, cut to now. Newt is not happy. She bitten one of the people at Anchor Point. She's trying to. She wants to know where Ripley is. Hicks is also one. Hicks is wondering why he hadn't been debriefed, and two, he then sticks up for Newt when she shows up. They've got the lower half of Bishop, but not the upper half. One of the executives there has a chat with one of the other with one of the higher ups at the company. Really doesn't go that well. But yeah, it's basically kind of weapons division has taken over the station for the moment. They're doing then in the tissue culture lab, two of the scientists have been checking out some of the stuff that they pulled off of lower half of Bishop, and it's a bit shocking what it can do. As we find out that Newt's grandparents still live on Earth. Meanwhile, back in the at the UPP Rodina in the security bubble, I honestly do not recall what fudge. The higher ups there have at least managed to reactivate Bishop, and he has giving them some illustrations on xenomorphs, the various life cycle, and explained that Weyland-Yutani wants these for weapons for the bioweapons division, which is apparently a violation of a treaty between Weyland-Yutani and UPP. So they're at least going to give back Bishop. Back on Anchor Point, the engineers are going to go fix up Sulaco so that it can be space-worthy once again. Hicks is told that his debrief will be handled by Wells from the Weyland-Yutani Weapons Division. She also tells him that he can contact New Brisbane, the closest USCMC base, but that only goes as long as he doesn't refer to mission specifics. Anyways, while the two mechanics are pulling apart parts of the Sulaco that appear to be damaged, they find something. Anyway, so homeboy from Rossetti from Anchor Point Station and Rivera from the UPP ship, they have themselves a chat, arguing points like, hey, you boarded our ship, and, well, Rivera wants to know where Kurtz is, but yeah. He just gets cut off. Anyways, so they show the two people, Tully and the other member of the other company man gets shown what a small amount of the one of the scrapings they took does to human DNA, and explain that it happens that quickly, and they terminated the test run, and they're just like, wait, you did what? And it's like, well, it needs to be done. Nothing like that can be done without a major containment facility. Then, of course, homeboy dude from the company is like, the station is our containment facility. Well, probably not the best thing in the world to do, but hey. And that is it for this week's comic book rundown. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be back next Monday. We'll actually be doing this on Wednesday next week and not Thursday or later. Anyway, as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, as well as my Patreon are in the description box down below. Hit the notification bell to be notified of when I put new videos up. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.